Hi, this is Sarah from Aligned with Sarah. Tonight is Let's Talk Tuesday. It's the first Tuesday of the month. This month we're focusing on a piece of wellness called consumption. So if you have not heard of this before, I do a piece of wellness each month and focus my own personal growth and content on my channel, on my website, and some extras that I do with my clients where I'm really focusing on that piece of wellness to grow and develop and understand more, get feedback on. Um, and this month I'm focusing on consumption. And it seems like kind of a bizarre topic. Not when it's in my head, but when I say it out loud, I'm like, well, that seems like a weird thing to focus on. But I put my blog up. I'm in a new pattern now this is the second month, I think, where I usually have my blog coming in the middle of the month. Now it's up there at the beginning of the month. And that's really sharing my thoughts on what's kind of on the inside. It comes from somewhere and it needs to be fed by something. So this concept of like, well, what am I feeding? What am I looking for? Like, what am I talking about without noticing? In just casual conversations? Is it positive? Is it negative? Is it about, fear or despair or, some other branch of fear that is not despair, anger or whatever that might be. And in the blog, I talk a little bit about the Native American concept, that like legend or like lesson, I should say, of how we have two wolves inside of us. And one is like a positive experience. One is full of love. One is like understanding and supportive. And the other one is full of fear. And there's, the anger and the aggression and all kinds of things. And whichever wolf we choose, and we're always choosing, even when we do nothing, we're making that choice to do nothing. We are always feeding one of the wolves. We're feeding the like negative sort of one, the one full of fear, or we're feeding the one that is full of love. And with wolves, there's always a leader, and the strongest one is the leader. We are determining that with what we are feeding ourselves. Subconscious mind is this huge piece in this puzzle. And I love the quotes that I've come across in exploring this experience of, what else I can learn about this. What can I think about when I think about consumption? And I'm reminded about, I feel like I've heard these before, but two quotes are very similar. What consumes your mind controls your life. So what consumes your mind controls your life, and what we think we become. And my really favorite Rachel Hollis quote is, "We are more than what we become, but we are feeding that thing that's inside of us. We're feeding that thing that we become." And I talk about this a lot. The subconscious mind is working so hard all the time. My analogy of 10 people in the room would be your whole thought process, your whole mind. 9 of them are your subconscious mind. 90% of that thought process, that stuff that's going on in your head, is your subconscious mind. And that one person is your conscious mind, what you think you have control of, or what you do have control of. One voice in the midst of 9. So if your subconscious mind has been fed fear with emotions and experiences and behaviors and belief systems that become established, we're always looking for proof of those things that we believe in our subconscious mind. So if we believe that, I don't know why I don't have a thought here. If we believe making money is hard. I feel like I use that example a lot. If we feel like we have to lie and cheat and, run people over, then our subconscious mind, if we have believed that from when we are small, we have seen that somewhere, we have accepted that as a belief system, and we've sort of looked for proof around our whole life to prove that one thought, and growing that experience, that making money is difficult, or we have to do bad things. And some people don't even think they're bad things. Some people think it's just the way that it is, because that is so much ingrained in their experiences and ingrained in their thought processes. We can lose track of a lot of things, like our beliefs. And I want to say that our belief systems really govern everything that we believe in. If we don't believe in it, we can't see it. And in the blog, I talk a little bit about, I think I just talk about cryptids, but I feel like I introduce it talking about Bigfoot. There's many people that go out and look for any sort of cryptid, and they don't actually have to believe in the animal or the experience or the concept of things. They just have to go and look for evidence. And so if you don't believe that you're full of fear, my journey this month is just looking at that for proof. Well, am I full of fear? What would fear look like to me? When I look at other people and notice fear or actions of something, if they're fearful, what are they emitting? What do they sound like? What do they look like? What do they smell like? If we want to talk about Bigfoot, not everyone, but quite often people notice a smell in the air. And that's sweat, and that could be the hormones and the pheromones that we're putting off, and our stress response to that fear. So the things that I'm bringing in is this awareness of, well, what would it look like? Or what do I believe it looks like? I can even start there. I didn't even think of that until right now. When I'm full of love, and what do I believe it looks like when I'm full of fear? Has that ever been there before? And in my journey, that's, just a couple weeks into this whole thing of really exploring feelings that I feel like are consuming me. How have I consumed them to bring them in? How have I consumed this experience? Because whatever goes in must come out. Whatever goes up must come down. But there's also that concept of, like, if I'm eating junk food, I'm feeding nothing really. I'm just feeding my own hunger, my lack of nutrition. But then, like, junk comes out, like cells aren't going to have what they need, and my organs aren't going to have what they need. I'm not going to have energy. I'm going to, these digestion issues, because my organs are going to be looking for stuff. That's like a physical food analogy. But if I'm consuming like junky experiences of, people's struggles, if I'm like, scrolling through YouTube, or the Facebook is, I feel like a lot of people have moved away from Facebook because it's a very, very toxic environment. It's, people put out there what they either think people are going to, like, or, you know, imagine that this is what, my life is like every second of the day, or this or that, or the other things. There's some people that are there and are very true and real. And that's like that little, like, twist that keeps us going back there to check in to see what our friends are doing, or to, be able to check out a bunch of pictures that a friend is sharing, or what's going on with family members. But it can be a very toxic environment, like, very quickly. And if we're consuming that toxicity, it's got to come out somewhere. And there's something that's inside of us that's hungry for it anyway. Where is that coming from? What wolf is that? Is this love, or is this fear? Like, where is this coming from? And thinking about emotions, I trying to boil them down to emotions. And you can do a very quick Google search and, type in, emotion chart, or, something on those lines. The frequencies of emotion, there's be a lot of emotions that show up. and the frequencies that they resonate with. Pinterest has beautiful things. I feel like the internet just in general has a lot of options and things. Um, to get an idea of, could it be this emotion? Could it be this emotion? Going through what's there. My job involves, I use the Bradley Nelson emotion code and body code um, uh, concepts. I guess it's the word I want to say. I don't know. But a lot of times when I'm trying to clear something or help somebody with this like chronic area of the body that, tends to get injured, will not heal, has, some kind of issue, but it doesn't show up on any sort of imaging or blood work or, whatever, to explain what's going on or to even, find the cause of the pain. I've even had the opportunity of working with people that don't even have those organs. They don't even have, or I should say, limbs of the body, and they're feeling that phantom pain. We're very familiar with that phantom pain concept of people that don't have an arm, a hand, a leg, or whatever, and they feel pain in that area. So energy, it's that there's no other explanation than, of course, this like neurological experience of confusion. And when that doesn't hurt anymore after a session, it's really interesting to recognize that like that emotional piece of the puzzle that might explain something. And that's true for, those areas of the body that don't heal. And very often underlying causes boil down to trapped emotions or some kind of emotional baggage. And that's why I keep this chart of there's 60 emotions here, but not every time. Most of the time it boils down to something here. I'd say like 1% of the time I work on people, it's an emotion that's like outside of this. Another thing is these inner thoughts. I have a gigantic chart of like phrases that are kind of instilled in our mind about our own selves, and this creates a limiting belief. And I've said this before, and I really truly mean this. Whatever is inside of you, whatever has gone in, is already coming out. What is in your life, you are manifesting it. You are perfect. You are a perfect manifester right now. If you look around your life, that is your belief systems. It is something inside that subconscious mind has this thought pattern that is something like it's hard to get ahead financially, or relationships don't just work out, or exercise is for those people that have all this time in the world, or your concept of exercise is running for 6 miles a day. And, of course, that's not, and, so, of course, exercising sucks in your mind because you hate running, but that is so ingrained. Sometimes people forget that there's way more, there's like almost like an infinite amount of things that you can do for exercise that is not running. We get kind of tunnel vision, and then that voice, that subconscious mind, those 9 people are are loud. They can be really loud. And when they're saying things like, I'm not worth it, and all of them are singing this perfect song in tune together, they can really drown out that one person, that conscious mind, that conscious effort that is trying to say, I am worth it. This last summer, I learned this concept of the water voice, and that's like saying these things out loud, of like really loud, like somebody's on the other side of the house and you need some water. Getting that message to the other side of the house so you can drown out, which is kind of funny that that's the water voice, but you can help to try to be heard over those 9 voices that make up that subconscious mind, those 9 people, or those 9 voices that are potentially even like chanting this really loud, unmotivating, I don't know what the word is I was going to say, phrase. So what comes in is already coming out. So my big mantra for this month, for growing this whole concept of, or be this awareness of what am I consuming? The big question is this love or is this fear? And even when I'm getting lost in my like YouTube shorts where, it's just like one after another, why am I here? What am I consuming? Am I looking for love or I'm looking for fear? Am I consuming love? Am I consuming fear? Am I finding motivation? Or am I just shutting off my mind, which sometimes is very helpful? Um, or, am I trying to confirm a belief system that does not work for me? Asking that big question, is this love or is this fear? And taking that inventory of what is in my life right now, what is in my life financially, what is in my life for like company, I guess I should say, for that relationship piece of life. What is the career like? What is my home like? What is my family like? And looking around, that concept of feng shui, maybe you have heard of it. It's kind of creating a space to um, invite energy in, but you are already engaged in feng shui. So if you look at certain areas of your life that reflects what you believe in in that area of life. The financial piece, a lot of people know this. A lot of the financial piece is your kitchen, what your kitchen looks like. So take a look at that and see if that reflects your financial state. What does your kitchen look like? Just go look in the doorway right now. What does the kitchen look like? And there is a lot of intention that goes into changing pieces of our life. And, that's kind of like the chicken or the egg. If I um, clean up the kitchen, reorganize the kitchen, you don't have to spend, $1 million, because if you're having financial issues, investing might not work out so good in the short run or the long run. But there's a lot of things that you can do to enhance that space without, dumping a ton of money. Into it, which, dumping a ton of money into it is fun, but small things like get a new rug or make sure the dishes are cleaned or not leaving pots on the stove. If you have to, like making sure that there's a lid there, making sure what does the drain look like in the kitchen? What area of the house is it in? Of course, we can't always just, move it to the other end of the house, but acknowledging where it is, like north, south, east, and west, is the layout of it, the grid of it in your home uh, reflects a piece of the feng shui, and it can be adjusted with um, crystals and intentions like that. But yeah, there's a lot of small things that you can do to help change that area of your life. And I feel like it's interesting when I throw that out there and people look at their kitchen and then they can tell that story of where they are at in their financial relationship with their own self, I guess is a good way to say it. Um, and I believe, we are always manifesting exactly what it is that we deeply believe. If we believe we are not worth it, then a lot of things aren't going to work out. If we believe that we are not worth it, it's going to be really hard to get up and exercise. If we believe that we are not worth it, this other thing is that we're going to be attracting people into our lives that believe also that we're not worth it. It's like our threshold is really low for, the quality of experience that we're having with people. And those are the people that are going to get through. If the bar is much higher, that quality of person is going to be able to come through and be attracted into life. Just standing wherever in the presence of the person, and that is, like the friendships and the even more than friendship, the intimate relationships that we have, the career relationships we have, our neighbors. Our family. It's a really interesting experience when, all of this goes in my head all the time. So it's a very, I don't know, very layered, everything is a very layered experience. But it's very interesting when you close that door of like, you know what? I am worth it. I am worth it right now. I am worth it always to have such and such in my life, to feel supported, to feel love, to feel listened to feel like I'm important to somebody because I'm important to me. It's interesting how major shifts happen and some people can get really uncomfortable. Um, So there is that piece where there's this like natural sloughing off of these things that just don't work anymore because you are those are signs that you're changing that inner workings of the mind. So what is in your life right now you're manifesting. And the last thing that I want to talk to, I have one person here. Thank you so much for being here. If you have any questions or anything you want to comment about, please feel free to use the chat and I will give that attention in some way. Thank you for being here. The last thing that I want to talk about is keep showing up. But don't keep showing up to get knocked down. Keep showing up and making sure that you are noticing and listening and shifting something. So if something's not working, there's this piece of, am I being brave? I'm looking at my sticky note right now. Am I being brave? Am I being bold? Am I being willing? Or am I just showing up? And sometimes we just have to do that. Sometimes where we just crawl into the seat and kind of take our position. Sometimes when we have like that the goal for exercise or the goal for financial whatever, sometimes it's really hard to kind of like crawl across that line and just be like, okay, I'm here. But you made it. Okay, so then what are you focusing on now? Are you gonna lay there? Are you gonna just sit here? Are you gonna, start texting everybody about how tired you are and how this and that you are and how whatever? Or are you gonna look for answers to where you are at right now? Are you gonna look for something better? Are you gonna change what you instinctively want to look for proof for or what you feel inside? Or do you want to look for something new? Do you want to start to tell a different story? So I do love that concept of just show up, just keep showing up. But I feel like there's a little bit more to it. Every once in a while, sure, be the bump on the log, show up, whatever. But it can't be the pattern. It can't be the end of the story of just showing up. You have to be noticing and listening and finding somewhere to shift because if we want to be growing, we need to keep pushing out into places that are uncomfortable. And I mean, we don't have to like jump out into this like major experience that's like way out of our league and we're not ready for, quite honestly. I mean, that can also be a thing. But we do have to keep pushing and we have to find new places because we don't want to keep having this usually, right? We want to grow into something else. We want to find where we're at and we want to know where we're at because it might not be anywhere near where we want to go and it might change our journey quite a bit to realize that I use that analogy of the geographic piece. If we think we're in Florida, but when we do our assessment and kind of like realize, I'm not in Florida, I might even be like over in Canada or like Europe, Iceland, we might be way, way off of where we think we are. And there's nothing wrong with where we're at right now. It is the key to moving forward, because otherwise we'll just be walking in circles and have no idea. We'll be thinking that, in 2 days I will be at the southern tip of Florida and, moving on to the Keys or whatever. And really, no, you're going to be on the edge of the island of Iceland. And that is not anywhere near the Keys. Knowing this, knowing that I need to get on a plane, knowing that I need to get some help. I need somebody getting me back on the right continent or making a new plan. I love Iceland. I really, truly do love Iceland. Maybe you want to stay there. Maybe you're realizing like, okay, I thought that I wanted to be over in this place. I thought I wanted to be a yoga instructor. I thought I wanted to be, weigh this certain weight. I thought I wanted to be a multimillionaire. But now, I'm realizing like how off I am from that. And, that might not be the plan that I want to stick with. We could change our mind at any moment. We can change our mind and realize that I'm I'm worth something else. I'm worth something that makes me happy. And these multi-million dollars might not be that thing. I've been searching for them for forever. And, it just feels like I'm realizing that it doesn't light me up inside. So realizing where we are is such a valuable tool. And when we can look at it honestly and with love, it becomes this extra super magical place to be. For our journey. It's really showing up for our journey when we can acknowledge where we are in that moment. So, just to recap real quick, and I don't have anything over here in the chat with questions or anything. So, I'm just going to say thank you again for being here. What consumes your mind controls your life. What is consuming your mind, and how is that being fed? Do you want to feed it? What we think, we become. Very similar to that last quote. We are more than we become. I'm going to throw Rachel Hollis in there again. Is this love or is this fear? This experience that I'm having right now, this emotion that I'm having right now, finding some resource that lists a whole bunch of emotions. So maybe you can identify maybe an emotion that you didn't even think of and look for it, even if you don't believe it. So, if somebody is telling you you're a very angry person, or use the self-sabotaging thing, that is such good feedback to get from somebody who is like this third person point of view. Looking for that, you don't have to necessarily believe it, but you have to be open-minded enough to just look for evidence of that. So you're manifesting right now. Look around you. What's in your life? It's there because of a belief system that you have in your subconscious mind. Finding resources to clear those things, clear that emotional baggage so that you can change that belief system is super valuable. And it's why I fell in love with emotion code, body code, Reiki, all of those. I want to say something else. Oh, tapping, EFT. They tap into that wisdom that your body has everything that it already needs to get things sorted out. We can optimize the environment for our own healing by tapping into these resources, believing in these resources, and learning them, applying them, reaching out to people that have had success with them, that offer them. It's a great way to fast forward some progress on your journey and keep showing up, but make sure that you are noticing and listening and shifting as you're showing up, so you can be moving out into, or moving away from your comfort zone into those areas that we want to grow. Okay, this is a really long Let's Talk Tuesday. Thank you for this half hour of your life. I am very grateful that you are here. I'm very grateful to share this information. I'm very grateful to be on my journey and to be able to have a point of view where I feel like I can share something and hopefully enlighten other people or inspire them and make them feel like they're not alone. We are here together if you want to be here together. And anyway, so I already have actually a link in the description of this video for that blog post that I was talking about, to jump over to check that out. And that's over. All my blog posts are over on my website, and they will stay there as long as I can have them there. And what was the other thing? I have started, and this is me patting myself on the back. Today I gave myself permission to celebrate my successes. I did a permission series about a year ago here on YouTube, and I made that into several different things. It's been this incredible project. And now I have this downloadable worksheet where you can download it, print it, and then cut out these things, fold them up. I keep mine in a jar in my office, and I pull one out every time I'm in my office, and I give myself permission. Every piece of paper has a permission to something, and it's a daily practice. It's not a daily practice for me. and choosing a new one, but it's a daily practice where I will pick one and I will keep that intention. Today, I have permission to celebrate my successes, and that is very much on target. Like every person that has ever pulled out a piece of paper from that, it's called from that jar. That practice is a form of a divinity practice. Where you are divinely guided into pulling out what needs to have your attention. I have never had anyone pull out anything that they were like, what the heck is this thing? It's usually very inspiring, and it connects to a place in someone's journey. So anyway, those are downloadable over on the website, as well as a few other resources. My 7-day journey to recognize. It walks through, it's a first draft, so there's probably like all kinds of stuff going on in there with like spelling errors and a lot of things that I want to change, but that has been around for a while, and I'm glad to get it up there for a resource. But it's a 7-day journey into recognizing like this backstory of, why your back might be hurting, or why your digestion might be off, or why there is this struggle in your life for this, the other thing. So in the description, there's a link to get over to the resources page. And it's a great way to support my practice. I feel like a lot of people have like those little buttons that are like, buy me coffee or something. And this is basically like buy me coffee, but you get something. And it helps me with having my website and, all these things that we as a business, we tap into. They have some kind of financial investment attached to it, including getting these things listed up on Google. And, it's like a never ending thing. So that little bit of support goes a long way. And I hope it's a resource that goes a long way for you. So those two things are in the description. If you have anything that you want to share with me, please email me or send me a message, text message, or however it works to get a hold of you. Contact form on my website. And I will talk to you again really soon. I have a video that I'll be doing tomorrow and getting that up, and then go back to the regular videos. And then the end of the month, the last Friday, I believe it's the 27th of, oops, I don't have my calendar. I think it's the 27th, whatever the last Friday is in January. That is going to be clinic time, and we're going to be focusing. Actually, clinic is going to focus on anxiety, and we're going to tie in the pieces of wellness into relieving anxiety. So that is growing and changing and developing, and that feels fun. So those are the things coming up, and those are the things to tap into. And thank you so much for being here, and I'll talk to you again real soon.